You are going to see Bryce and that entire Alabama team give KJ Jefferson a wedgie and obliterate Arkansas. It's going to be bad, and I mean very, very, very bad for Arkansas. If Alabama doesn't just lose to Arkansas, but if Alabama loses any game this year, I'll shave my head. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Can you believe it? We are already doing the Week 5 preview. I swear, this can't just be me. It feels like college football just started a couple of days ago, and we're already 5 weeks in. What happened? Slow down, slow down. I can't be the only one who feels like it takes forever and ever for the season to come, and whenever it does come, it goes by just like that. I am excited, though, because Week 5 has a lot of good matchups, and we're starting to find out the identities of some of these teams. It's always hard, for me at least, to predict these games in Week 1, Week 2, and Week 3, and Week 4, because we have no sample size. We don't even know what to expect, and we have nothing to back our statement and claims. However, as we continue to slowly go on, and we get into Week 6, 7, 8, and so on, I can kind of get a feel for these teams, and I know what to expect and know what to predict. We got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5. Let me repeat that, 5 ranked matchups this weekend. It doesn't get better than that. Conference play is finally starting, and it is about dang time because I'm tired of seeing these cupcakes. I understand why these big teams play these smaller schools. It's for money, but I still don't like it. It's not very enjoyable to watch, but hey, at least that small team, they get $1 million, and the big team, they get a win in the column. Whoa, hold on. Let me go back on that statement. At least that's how it's supposed to go. In case of Appalachian State, you get $1 million and you get a win. I had to bring that up. Anyways, most of you know how this goes. It's rather simple. We're going to predict the games for this weekend. It's self-explanatory. We're not doing no intro, none of that. We are on the road to glory of reaching 300K subs, and there's a ton of you watching right now, and you're simply not subscribed. For everyone that is subscribed and you join our awesome and great college football community, I want you to know I greatly appreciate it. But for those of you that aren't subscribed, consider joining because it helps out the channel, and it also lets me know you're enjoying the content. All right, Matt, blah, 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 blah. Shut the crap up and not subscribing. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Why'd I say it like that? It sounded corny. Let's just say it regular. Let's get into it. That's better. I'm going to let you know right now, your boy Matt is picking some upsets. I've been studying these games like Albert Einstein studied the light bulb. I've been watching the film. I've been looking at the X and O's, and I'm ready to make my predictions. I'm not here to bore you to death. I want you to be excited when you watch this channel and you watch these videos, and we're starting it off hot. At 11 a.m., I got Iowa upsetting Michigan. You know why I think Iowa's going to upset Michigan? Because Michigan is overrated year after year after year. Okay, let me calm down and let me get down to business. Let me give you the analytics, the stats, and the stuff about the game that many people aren't going to talk about. You know why many people and your casual fans aren't going to talk about this? It's because they don't watch the film like your boy Matt. They don't look at the X's and O's. I do. Whoa, hold on. I know exactly what you're sitting there saying. Yo, Matt, when you look at the X's and O's, when you look at it on paper, Michigan's going to win this game, and I agree with that. There's only one reason, and one reason only, why I'm picking Iowa to win this game, and it has nothing to do with any other players. It only has something to do with one of Michigan's players, and he goes by the name of J.J. McCarthy. Good old J.J. McCarthy, the young and talented 5-star recruit that everybody loves. Nobody wanted Cade McNamara in there. Everybody wants the young cat J.J. And even me myself, I stated it. I like Cade, seems like a humble and great young man, but he's not an elite quarterback. To win those big-time games, and I get it, he did beat Ohio State last year, but to even compete in the playoff, to potentially win a championship, you gotta have somebody who's talented. It goes without being said, many people know this, McCarthy, he's a talented kid. With that being said, there's one thing about his game that concerned me last week against Maryland. I wish I could show you some of the plays and highlights. I unfortunately can't because YouTube, they would strike down this video and probably would take down my channel. I do also want to throw that in there. I think many people know this, but for those of you that don't, I can't throw up college football highlights because that's illegal. Trust me, if I could show you highlights from the games, that's all you would see. Unfortunately, can't do that. But anyways, if you watch this Maryland and Michigan game, you would know that good old J.J. McCarthy, he wasn't making instinctive decisions. The way he looks right now, only a couple games into the season, he looks like a deer looking into headlights. He looks extremely uncomfortable, and it's almost like he's playing not to lose. He's not playing like a kid when you're going out there and having fun and throwing the ball wherever you think it should go. It's almost like he wants to make the perfect play every single play, and that's not going to happen. He's holding on the ball way too long, and that is going to be bad news for Michigan because Iowa has a good defense. When it comes down to Iowa's offense, it's one of the worst offenses in the country. It's been that way for years, but their defense, they're stingy. Everybody also knows Iowa is notorious for upsetting top 5 teams, especially on their home field. Oh, guess what? It's a home game. Another key reason I think Iowa's gonna upset Michigan is because it's an 11 a.m. game. I don't know what it is. There's something about it. 11 a.m. games are perfect for upsets. Here's an absurd and crazy stat line for you. Iowa has only given up 23 points this entire season. That Iowa defense is giving up less than 6 points per game. What do they specialize in? What are they known for? Stopping the run. Ironically enough, what is Michigan good at? What are they known for? Running the football. Have they passed a little more this year? Yes, and they do look more explosive than last year, but they haven't played anybody. Upset City, mark it down, come back for the Sunday recap. Iowa upsets Michigan. Moving on to yet another 11 a.m. game, and I'm just now realizing this is at 11, and I have a question. Whose idea was it to make this an 11 a.m. game? Why is Kentucky and Ole Miss top 15 matchup playing at 11 a.m.? This should be a 7 p.m. Eastern time kickoff. I hate that. It is what it is. We got to talk about the game, though. I don't understand this. So weirdly enough, Ole Miss is a 7-point favorite at home. I don't understand it one bit. Ole Miss hasn't played anybody, and they struggled last week. I guess I do got to throw this in there. Kentucky did struggle last week as well. Regardless of both team struggles, they're still sitting at a very pretty and impressive 4-0. I'm going to assume one of the only reasons Ole Miss is a 7-point favorite is because they are at home, and I believe they're on a 12-game win streak at home. I don't like Ole Miss to win this game, and I don't trust them to win this game because I don't trust their offense. And with Ole Miss, if you can't trust their offense, you can't trust the team because let's be honest, they're not a defensive monster. Lane Kiffin's the head coach. And I know some people are going to say, well, Matt, it's hard to play in Oxford, and trust me, I get it. I've been to one of those games. It's an insane atmosphere and arguably one of the best places in all of college football that doesn't get enough love. But Kentucky beat Florida by 10 points in Gainesville. That was also a night game, so if you think Kentucky is going to be flustered by this Ole Miss crowd, you got another thing coming. They're not even worried. I don't want to say I love this Kentucky defense, but they do look good at times. They have their spurts in them where they look really good, but they also have their spurts in them when they look really bad. Fortunately enough for Kentucky, Ole Miss's offense hasn't looked the greatest. And when I say the greatest, I'm not saying they look bad, I'm just saying compared to other seasons. Normally in these big time games, and this is how it goes more times than not, the team with the best quarterback goes on to win, and the best quarterback in this game, no question, no ifs, ands, and buts about it, is Will Levis. I'm going to put my faith in Levis. I think he's going to have a good game, and if he does have a good game, they'll win. If he has a bad game, they're going to lose. But this is only our second game in the video, and I'm picking yet another upset. I got Kentucky winning this one, and that's weird to say it's an upset because Kentucky's ranked 7 teams higher, but Ole Miss is favored. Moving on to another 11 a.m. game nobody's talking about, Oklahoma and TCU. Man, oh man, I feel like I've talked about Oklahoma every single day, but they've been the talk of the town. TCU is undefeated. I'm going to keep this one short and simple. I think Oklahoma's pissed off. They're going to come out and show they are not as bad as they looked against Kansas State. I believe Oklahoma is much better than they showed against Kansas State, but we got to see it, and I think they'll prove it on Saturday. I got Oklahoma winning this one convincingly. I would say they're going to win this game by 2 scores. Let's talk about this one real quick, though. Also at 11 a.m., you got Texas Tech coming off of that big win against Texas, and Kansas State, who's coming off of that big win against Oklahoma. I don't want to spend too much time talking about this, but I will be watching this game because I am interested and invested in Adrian Martinez. I want to see if he can play as good as he did against Oklahoma in this next game, or maybe that Oklahoma game was a fluke. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Kansas State is an 8-point favorite. They're at home. Why not? Give me Kansas State. Moving on to our 2:30 primetime CBS games. Well, the Alabama-Arkansas is a CBS game. But first, let's talk about Oklahoma State and Baylor. I got a pretty good feel for every team in college football except for 2 teams. And ironically, they're playing each other, Baylor and Oklahoma State. I'm just going to be brutally honest with you guys. I like being transparent. I don't know how to feel about Baylor, and I also don't know how to feel about Oklahoma State. I don't know how anyone could justify any opinion about Oklahoma State because they've only played 3 games. They didn't even play last week. And in those 3 games, they've been cupcakes. And in the first game of the year, they gave up 44 to Central Michigan. After that, they played a sorry Arizona State team, beat them convincingly, and then Arkansas Pine Bluff. Yeah, I get it. Oklahoma State, they're putting up a lot of points. Their quarterback, Drew Sanders, he's been playing for 9 years now. but still, I'm not sold that they're an offensive powerhouse. I gotta see them play competition, and they are playing competition Saturday. On the flip side for Baylor, don't know how to feel about them. They've only played 2 decent teams, one of those being BYU, in which they lost, and the other being last week against Iowa State, in which they barely won. I would like to kind of go out on a limb and say Baylor's defense is looking good. They were good last year, but I'm not sold on that either. To go on top of that, the offense struggled late in the season last year, and they're not looking too much better. Baylor is currently a 2-point favorite, and it makes sense because they are at home. I think whichever team would have been at home, they would have been a favorite. Wait a minute, hold on. Why did I call Oklahoma State's quarterback Drew Sanders? I'm thinking of that linebacker for Arkansas. His name is Spencer Sanders. My apologies for that. I just now realized that, and I know I said that 45 seconds ago, but I realized it. My bad. Since we're talking about Spencer Sanders, might as well roll with it. I think since he has been playing college football for 11 years now, he's a veteran. He's going to win this game. Give me Oklahoma State. Moving on to our next 2:30 game. This is a ranked matchup, and I think it's going to be a good game. We got Wake Forest and Florida State. I said Wake Florist. It's Wake Forest. I was trying to say Florida. You get what I was trying to say. I messed up the F and L. Interesting enough, Florida State is a 7-point favorite. And I don't like that, and I don't buy that. I don't know how you could watch Wake Forest play Clemson that good last week. They almost won the game and say Florida State is 7 points better. Doesn't make sense to me. Whoa. Wait a minute. I was about to say give me Wake Forest and a double-digit score win. They're going to win this one easily. But won't this game be affected by that hurricane, what's it called, Ian? Because this game is in Florida, so that's something to think about. If those winds are up, maybe if it's slushy conditions, I don't know, maybe it won't be affected, then I think Wake Forest will win this game. But if it is affected and the wind is like 15, 20, 25, blowing whichever direction, then that's going to hurt Sam Hartman and Wake Forest because they're not going to be able to pass like they did against Clemson. That's interesting. Also got to take into account Wake Forest defense, not the best. You know what? My gut feeling was Wake Forest before I even thought about the hurricane and weather, and I'm going to stick with them because we've been calling upsets all throughout this video, so give me Wake Forest. Wake Forest, the 7-point dog, pulls off the upset. I don't feel confident about that. I feel confident about the Iowa beating Michigan, but not this one. A lot of times you'll see a team come off of a draining and mentally draining loss against a Clemson, for example, and it beats them the next week and the week after. Hopefully that doesn't happen to Wake Forest. Let's get a move on. At 2:30, the CBS game. Primetime game. Everybody's looking forward to this one. If you're from the Southeast, we got Alabama traveling to Arkansas. Woo, 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 woo. Oh man, you already know I'm about to get heated up in this one. As to where it stands right now, Alabama is a whopping, and I repeat, a whopping 17-point favorite on the road? I'm an Alabama fan, and I think that is way too much. I'm thinking they should only be about a 10 or 11-point favorite. 17 seems way too high because this Arkansas team, they look really good so far. I don't care that they lost to A&M. They were the better team in that game. They just didn't win it. Just like I said about Wake Forest, though, Arkansas fans and the team in general, they need to be careful. They don't want to continue to think about that draining loss to Texas A&M. They need to focus up for Alabama. Because Alabama, quite frankly, does not care if you lost to Texas A&M. They're coming in there, and they're on their revenge tour. This season for Alabama, we've seen this time after time. After they lose a championship, it's the revenge season. They are going into every game with blood in their mouths, and they want revenge, and they want a championship. As much as I do like KJ Jefferson, reminds me a lot of Cam Newton, and I love Arkansas's running back Raheem Rocket Sanders, I think Alabama is going to destroy Arkansas. You are going to see Bryce Young and that entire Alabama team give KJ Jefferson a wedgie and obliterate Arkansas. It's going to be bad, and I mean very, very, very bad for Arkansas. Do you not think all these Alabama players, the coaching staff, everybody involved, they hear all these people saying, well, dang, this Alabama team, they're not a good road team. Look what happened last year, and look what happened against Texas. Last year, they struggled on the road at Texas A&M. They lost at Florida. They barely won that game, and recently at Texas. Oh, this Alabama team, they're not that good. I don't even know if they're the second best team in the country anymore. Maybe Ohio State and Georgia are on a whole nother level. Blah, 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 Joe Schmo. If you know anything about college football, you know this. There is one person you can't count out, and that's Nick Saban. I've seen ESPN analysts time after time try to say that Dynasty is falling off and Nick Saban's getting old. He doesn't have it anymore, and what does Alabama do? They go out there and destroy an opponent. As always, though, I'm not just going to say stuff to say it. I'm going to have facts and evidence to go with my claims. Last year, Alabama beat Arkansas 42-35, and Bryce Young had a historic performance. He passed for 559 yards against that Arkansas team, was 31 for 40, had 5 touchdowns, 0 INTs, and a QBR of 96.5. 559 yards. Can you do much better than that? That's video game numbers. Whoa. Hold on. I know what you're sitting there saying. Matt, that was last year. This is this year. It's a new team. I do understand that that's last year. It's a new year. But Arkansas's passing defense is still one of the worst in the SEC. It didn't get exploited last week because Texas A&M, their offense is a crap show and they don't know what's going on. And Jimbo, he needs to just stop calling the plays ASAP. On the other hand, for Alabama, they can and they will exploit your passing defense. I don't think I have to explain how they're going to do it. It's simple, but I will do it anyways. Number one, they have the best quarterback in the country who won the Heisman Trophy last year throwing the ball. And two, they got good wide receivers. I don't think Alabama's wide receivers are great. I think they're good though. Here's the thing. You don't got to be great when you're going up against one of the worst passing defenses in the entire SEC. So I firmly believe Bryce Young and Alabama will have no problems whatsoever putting up 38 to 42 points on this Arkansas team, just like last year. On the flip side of it, a lot of y'all didn't know this. I did my research. Here's a fun fact for you. Alabama's passing defense is the only defense in the country that hasn't allowed a passing touchdown. What about that? Last year, the passing defense wasn't too good. This year, they're looking better. Do I think Alabama's secondary can get exposed? Yes, but there's one thing good about this secondary. They're going to man you up and they're going to say, hey, you got to throw a perfect pass. If you can throw a perfect pass, you can beat us. If you can't, then you're going to lose. I do want to throw this in there. I think KJ Jefferson is a top 10 quarterback in the country and he should be getting Heisman love. I don't care they lost to Texas A&M. He should be up for the Heisman conversation right behind Hendon Hooker. I think he's that special, and I also believe he is good enough to make those perfect passes. I saw him do it last year against Alabama. But I also believe this is a different Alabama defense. They've gotten better in the secondary. I don't have to talk about the front seven too much. It's one of the best in the entire country. Here's why I think Alabama is going to destroy Arkansas. I have a hard time believing that Arkansas's passing defense can stop Bryce Young, and I also have a hard time believing that KJ Jefferson can score more than 28 or 30 points. I got Alabama cruising in this one. It's going to be an easy win, 45-14. And matter of fact, I'll make a deal with you guys. I said this in the preview before the Alabama and Texas game, and it almost bit me in the butt. I was so confident that Alabama was going to beat Texas, I said if Texas does beat Alabama, I will shave my head bald. And since that game was so close, and I was somewhat wrong in my prediction, I will double down on that statement. If Alabama doesn't just lose to Arkansas, but if Alabama loses any game this year, I'll shave my head. That's right, you heard me correctly. If Alabama loses a game this year, it doesn't matter if it's the regular season, SEC championship, or the national championship, I will shave my head bald. I think that's fair since Alabama didn't destroy Texas, and I'm also calling them to destroy Arkansas this weekend. Will Matt be bald? I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I'm not worried a single bit. Trust me, if I was worried, I wouldn't even think about making that deal. Once again, I got good old Bama cruising in this one, 45-14. Shortly after that game kicks off at 3 p.m., this is kind of interesting to me. We got Texas A&M, Mississippi State. I think it's interesting for one reason. Texas A&M, they haven't looked good this entire year, and Mississippi State, they're not a bad team. Oh, and I just saw this. Hold on, wait a minute. Mississippi State is favored in this game by 4 points at home. What about that? What about that? Could we see an upset? Well, I guess technically it's not an upset since State is favored. I don't know. Texas A&M is a weird program right now. Realistically speaking, they could easily be 1-3, but they're 3-1. I don't want to spend too much time talking about that, although I don't believe in A&M. I'm going to pick them to win this game. And oh yeah, we'll talk about this real briefly. For all my Georgia fans, the number one team in the country, they got Missouri. They're going on the road at 6:30. Georgia fans, I don't know what you want me to say. I think you're the best team in the country. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're going to destroy Missouri. They are a sorry football team, arguably one of the worst teams in the SEC. I would love to talk about Georgia more, but there's not too much to say. You know it's going to be ugly. Last but not least, the final game we're going to talk about, and one I am so excited for. We got Clemson and NC State, a top 10 matchup. Should NC State be a top 10 team? No, I don't think so, but it is what it is. We also got Clemson, Dabo Swinney, DJ Ugabadoogie. They're coming off of that big time win against Wake Forest in double overtime. That was a game where DJ Uyunglele probably played the best game of his life. And after going back and watching the film, I noticed that a lot of those throws he was making, they were 50-50 balls. His wide receivers were bailing him out. Still, I'm not going to take that away from him. You still got to make a good pass, and he did. Clemson is currently a 6.5-point favorite, and I know that Hurricane Ian is also heading up that way. So I do believe that game, I could be wrong on this, but I believe that game will be affected by the winds. And if it is, I think that works in NC State's favor. The reason for that is rather simple, because if the winds are blowing, then DJ's probably going to throw a pick here and there, and that Clemson offense, they're not going to get in that groove. I also believe NC State rather play in a windy and a sluggish game, because that's how they play. Wasn't it a few years ago in a hurricane where they upset Notre Dame and it was the same game environment? I believe that was NC State. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. So if the game is sluggish and it's windy and there's bad conditions just like that one, that's why I like NC State to win it. But, I have a big but, Clemson is one of those few teams over the years that I have a hard time picking against. I have a such hard time picking against them because they've been so good for so long, and I believe in Dabo Swinney. Who doesn't? He's got 2 national championships. He's one of the best college football coaches of all time. And yeah, that's right, I said of all time. And no, I'm not a Dabo Swinney fan. I'm just giving credit where it's due. I watched the same NC State team struggle with, who was it? Oh yeah, East Carolina, where they should have lost this game. I have a hard time believing they're going to upset Clemson on Clemson's home field. Clemson's only a 6.5-point favorite. I still got them winning this game. I hope it's a good game because I'm looking forward to that one. Like I said, I have a hard time picking against them. You could see the upset happen, though. And last but not least, I might as well talk about these 2 Pac-12 teams. You got USC and Arizona State. I think USC and Caleb Williams, they're going to bounce back from that terrible offensive performance. They're going to win that one easily, and also Stanford and Oregon. Gosh, man, I'm getting tired of these 10 p.m. kickoffs. Just like always, I'm going to try my best to stay up and watch this Oregon and Stanford game, but I always doze off because it's literally 1 a.m. and it's only the 3rd quarter. Oregon is a 17-point favorite. Bo Pix is the quarterback. You know how it goes with Bo Pix. He's either going to throw 6 touchdowns or 6 interceptions. No in-betweens. Oh, man, I'm excited for this week, and I'm so excited. I can't even believe it's Thursday. It felt like Monday 10 hours ago. Let me know your thoughts on all this down below. But right away, Billy!